Hey everyone, this is WobblyWallaby. Stellar Hunters got lots of buffs in the recent patch in Ragnarok Mobile Eternal Love, but how impactful were these changes? Meteor Fission's skill cooldown is 30 seconds and was previously 75 seconds. This lasts 60 seconds, so now you can get Meteor Fission all the time. This is extremely important since I hated not having consistent AoE as a Stellar Hunter when the bosses summon something or I need to take down the mobs. The splash damage was also increased from 60 to 80%. In addition, the Comet Light Fission Star Ruin has the splash damage increased from 30 to 50% when there is no split target, which makes a single target take a lot more damage than before. Next, Twinkling Star is a skill that lets you roll backwards to dodge stuff, and there can be 2 charges. The passive Twinkling Star Shadowless now gives 30% final damage reduction for 5 seconds, which is great for survivability. Stellar Hunter doesn't have anti-death, and in the past I was heavily relying on King of Beasts Star card, which provides 60% damage reduction, Tyre's Armor, tier 5, for 50% max life hit in a single instance, and Helian's Bracelet, tier 5, for damage taken halved when HP is above 90%. Now in the past I also used the Divine card for lifesteal, but I wanted to see if I could drop this. Next is Stellar Hunter's Star Guardian, which now provides 50% all elemental attack, which is a huge boost. It lasts 8 seconds and has a 15-second cooldown, so unfortunately there is some downtime. The 10-second reduction is from Star Guardian's cooldown. Previously I was heavily relying on other short patrol for the elemental damage increase, but now I can drop this for armor like Eagle Rectrix Hunter's Trapping, which provides a ton of critical damage and penetration percentage. Now today I'm going to try Stellar Hunter, but with a challenge. I'm going to use as semi-free-to-play friendly gear as possible. That means no MVP cards and as few mini cards as possible. Prior to this update I was heavily relying on MVP cards and relics to complete PvE instances, so this time I'll try my best to beat PvE instances, and if it gets too hard, then I'll start adding some. Also at the end I'll show some gear that has some MVP cards in it, so you know some ideal things to work towards. Next, I also put my Adventure Handbook deposit to 100%. Before I continue, I want to thank LDCloud for sponsoring this video. I've used LDCloud for many months and it's made my life much simpler. I use the unlimited multi-instances to help manage multiple Ragnarok mobile accounts. For example, here I have 2 alts to help me with my instances and boss hunting. I click on this button and I can select my second instance and then manage my second class. It's super smooth and responsive. These instances run stable and uninterrupted 24/7, so I could park my character in Void Maps or Abyss Lake and be AFK while on auto. I'm happy I can do this stuff without consuming my phone or computer's RAM or battery. I've used instances in Singapore to access Southeast Asia games and United States for global games, which is great to get past region lock games. To get started, register through my exclusive link to enjoy a 6-hour free trial with no download required. Here I visit the link with my web browser, then click register now. I register with my Google account, and then I see the 0.27 US credit, which lets me try it out for 6 hours for free. And yes, you can also use this on your web browser too. So definitely give it a try. I'm sure you'll enjoy it as much as I do. Next, one thing I want to show before my battles is the importance of standing still. Improved concentration gives you 30% auto attack damage increase if you stand still for 1 second, so I will sometimes stand there and take it for the damage increase. Next, let me show you the Legend Dragon. I'm using Fear Arrow for 30% damage to all races with the Fire Converter. When you first face the dragon, stand still and take damage for improved concentration. When the Death Circles come out, use Twinkling Star to get out of the way and for the final damage reduction. I keep attacking, and when he does the cone, I walk to the side since Twinkling Star would still put me in danger. I keep popping HP potions since I have no life gain. The dragon does go down. Next, I show my gear just to confirm I am using the semi-free-to-play gear as I showed before. I use the Voice of Soulbone for the ranged physical damage increase. I have the physical damage increase random attribute. For card, I use the King of Beasts Star card. I think this card is mandatory for Stellar Hunters to play, and luckily for the King of Beasts Star card, it only requires mini cards and not MVP cards. Next, for armor, I use the Eagle Rectrix Hunter's Trappings for the critical damage and penetration percentage. My Stellar Hunter does lack penetration percentage, which is why I like this random attribute. For card, I use the Archer Skeleton Star card for the attack percentage. Next I use Imperial's Knight Cape for the critical damage percentage. For random attribute I use the auto attack damage increase. For card I use the Hugin's Star card for the critical damage. Next for boots I use the Dragon Slayer's War Boots for the physical attack percentage and physical penetration random attribute. It is fine to use the ranged physical damage boots also, but I don't have them when tiered up or with good enchants. Next for cards I use the Flute Player Star card for the dex and movement speed. For accessories I use the Heart of Molten Fire for the fire elemental damage increase. For card I use the Scarecrow card for damage to undead monsters plus 10% since the dragon is undead. For my second accessory I use the same thing as before and for the same reasons. Feel free to swap in other racial cards as you have them for your accessories. Next for weapon I use the Overlord Crab Bow since it adds a ton of critical damage. For cards, I use 2 Minotaur Star cards for damage to large monsters and damage to MVP and mini monsters. Since I'm not using the Drake Star card, I'll need to eat a normal Precision Stone since bows only do 75% damage to large targets. Next I use Cat Language Diadem for damage to large monsters. For card, I use the Andre Star card for penetration percentage. For face, I use a Refined 6 Cube Blower for damage to MVP and mini monsters. For mouth, I use the +6 Oceans attachment for damage to MVP and mini monsters. Now previously I was using auto attack face and mouth, but I found I had enough auto attack damage already and I wanted to put in some damage to MVP and mini monsters into my damage formula. For back I used the Chicken Axe for the target's damage taken by 5% debuff that stacks up to 2 layers. And for tail I used the Embroidered Chest for more critical damage percentage. Next here's my Shadow Equipment, Oracle Mirrors, and Relic. For Shadow Equipment, having Hylian Bracelet and Tier's Armor at 50% progress, and also Tier 5 is extremely important as I shown earlier for survivability purposes. Yep, I'm using waist size, anyone can have this from doing a collage from the story. Next for attributes, I have enough agility for 480% attack speed, then max dex for more damage, and then max luck because a lot of my gear gets more critical damage based on luck. Previously I'd done more agility for the auto attack damage increase stuff, but I found that did less damage. Having more critical damage for me did more damage for my character. Then I put the remaining into vitality for survivability. For stats I have 36,000 attack, 480% attack speed, 78.1% penetration, 261 critical, 431.8% critical damage, 89% auto attack damage increase, 185.6% damage, 96.4% physical damage increase, 136% fire damage, and when Star Guardian wears off it falls to 86%. Next for Adventure Handbook, I have 3,836 attack and 100% damage. Next for Events Ruins, here's my layout. Here are my skill ruins. Excellent State Star Rune with a high second line is great for auto attack damage increase. Next, Assassin's Rune is great for more Fear Breeze damage. Then I have Impact Electro Optic Rune for more Blitz Speed trigger chance. Then Animal Master Rune with a third line for stacking an extra Trump Tamer stack is great. Then Precision Sniper Rune with a high second line is great for more critical damage. Next, Comet Light Vision Star Rune with a high first line and third line is great for more damage. And for attribute runes, this is what I use. I try to get damage to all races as high as possible. Next for Arcane Runes, the White Blade Rune is great for more damage. War Preparedness Rune adds more shield for survivability. Then the Spirit Rune to avoid running out of SP. The Frenzy Rune for more movement speed when you have 480% attack speed is also great too. Next here are my skills. Here are my Archer skills. Next here are my Hunter skills. Next here are my Sniper skills. And next here are my Ranger skills. Inside my Prepare for Elite I have True Sight, Wind Walk, Exceed Break, Meteor Vision, Unlimited Stars, and Star Guardian. For skills on manual, the only skill I use a lot is Twinkling Stars or Prepare for Elite. On auto, I do put Auto Attack and Prepare for Elite. I find Shadow Hunter stressful to play, so I'd often forget to cast Prepare for Elite manually. Star's Guardian is very important for the elemental damage increase, so I must ensure I always cast this. Unfortunately for this account, I don't have good arcane ruins. I am a skill damage user, so my Sakurai's legendary memories aren't good for auto attackers. The final damage based on crit and target's crit guard is better, or the damage to large monsters. With Legend Museum Floor 1 done, let's try Legend Museum Floor 2. You need to dodge the AoE. Unfortunately, the map is very narrow, so Twinkling Stars doesn't do very well. You're also against the wall. And when the rook comes down, you have to burst it down. With a huge damage increase, the rook is no longer a problem. I did swap in the Moi Guai card for damage to ghost monsters to deal with the floor. I'm still using fire accessories with the fire converter. That's because the rook is neutral, and if you use ghost against it, you do very little damage. Next is the Legend Golem. This one is pretty easy too since the Golem doesn't do much damage. Just dodge AoE with Twinkling Stars. After I show I use water accessories, I also use water converters this time. For card, I use the Pale Wolf card for penetration percentage. For my other accessory, I also use water accessories, but I use the Greatest General card for the chance to get physical damage plus 10% increase. For floor 2, I'm still using water converters and swap the Mao Guai card for the accessories for more damage to ghost targets. Surprisingly, the boss goes down quite fast. The damage really feels a lot higher than before even without good cards or relic. Now floor 3, I tried many times and I had to cheat with this one with the Divine card for lifesteal. The survivability just wasn't there. For the first phase, you can burst them down quite fast. It's really the second phase that requires a lot of life gain. Here I'm using Earth, since water and fire don't do too well as converters as the MVP summons. But I do get Drake, so I'm kinda lucky, and I do burst them down. Then I take down the red orb. And for bursting down the heart, it was a bit slow. If you have dark arrows, it's good to burst down the heart since it's holy. And for the final phase, I play it safe. I use Twinkling Stars and get away from the boss and then take him down. And I finally beat floor 3 Isles with Style Hunter on Legend. I think it was a bit too annoying before. The survivability of Twinkling Stars, the damage boost, and the constant AoE makes an enormous difference. Next I show I swapped in the gold earring for the penetration percentage. I had to cheat this time and I used the Divine card for life gain. And then the other stuff is the same. Next I used my same fire gear that I used against the Legend Museum Dragon in PSR. I'll let this run for a bit, but I can definitely say the damage was absolutely awful. I barely hurt the dragon, which is understandable with what I have. Also, since you don't have anti-death skills, the full screen AoE hurts a ton. The dragon also hits really hard, so sometimes I'm on anti-death cooldown. So here I'm going to try with my pay to win gear to see if it helps at all. Here I swap in the Poitacha card for armor, the Drake Star for weapon, and Machine Dragon Wing card for head. I also use Mail Wave for the damage reduction debuff. For relic I also swap in my Lord of Vane. Now these did help, but the damage still wasn't high enough, and of course my character isn't fully optimized either. This would also be a nightmare against Kain in Palace of Ghosts, since his shield would keep coming up, so I don't think you'd ever be able to kill it very easily. So although Stellar Hunters got a huge boost in damage and survivability, I don't think it's good for harder instances like PSR. I think we need some better debuffs or some party buffs. But overall, I'm still very happy that the devs decided to give some love to Stellar Hunters, and I definitely did much better this time. So what are your thoughts on the Stellar Hunter buffs? Let me know in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Here's a video that I'd recommend, and if you want more class recommendations, check out this playlist over here.